Okay, all right, we're ready to get started. Thank you everyone for your patience. We just sorted out our sound issue, so we are good to go. So I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Claudine Ting, and I'm the Marketing Specialist for Client Success here at SmartSimple. Welcome to another Upgrade Q&A webinar, and for today, we're going to be talking about our August 2019 upgrade. So just to remind everyone, our upgrade release notes are available at our wiki. So the complete list of features are there if you'd like to really review it in detail. Before we begin, I'd like to share some marketing reminders. Our biggest event of the year, Elevate San Diego. It's going to be on October 23 to the 25th. Early bird registration is only available until August 31st, so if you'd like to avail of our best rate, please sign up as fast as you can. If you have any questions or if you'd like to know more about Elevate, it's on our website, smartsimple.com. Go to events and just select SmartSimple events. We also have upcoming SmartSimple Block Party events. We had some changes for Block Party New York. It will now be on September 11th, and it will be hosted by JDRF. Block Party San Diego, October 23rd at the Omni San Diego. And last but not the least, Block Party Copenhagen on November 15th, and it would be hosted by Novo Nordisk Foundation. Also, mark your calendars for another webinar this month. It will be about integrations and APIs. It would be on August 27th and 29th. Okay, so before I introduce our presenter, I'd just like to remind everyone about some housekeeping rules for our Upgrade Q&A webinar. So if this is your first time, I just want to let you know that when it comes to the features that we'll be discussing for the webinar, if you have any questions, please type them in the Q&A box or in the chat box, and we will answer all of them at the end of the presentation. So now I'd like to pass the mic to the man, the myth, the legend behind the upgrade videos. I'd like to pass the mic to Mark Richer.
All right. So I'm going to use the upgrade page to start this off, and we're going to take a little bit of a deeper dive into all the things that are in this upgrade. As Claudine said, if you have questions, just put them in the chat, and we're going to have a question and answer at the end. All right. If depending on your server, all the dates for your upgrade are here, and keep in mind that the backups are always upgraded 2 weeks prior to the production servers. If anyone doesn't know how to get to their backup, most people can get to their backup just by typing in BK right here, and that would take you to the backup if you are on a shared public hosting. Okay. As Claudine mentioned, if you haven't already, I encourage everyone to listen to and watch the upgrade highlights video. It's less than 5 minutes, and it covers most of the major issues or major features that were going to be included in any big changes. And it's not too technical, so it's good for almost anybody. So without further ado, let's start talking about the global system upgrades. These are things that are going to change for everybody, and I want you guys to be aware of what's going to happen. So the start, it is the instruction messages and the alerts. So these type of notifications will now have the yellow here and the icon. This is for better readability, and because we have to have icons for people that are colorblind and things of that nature, we can't have just color alone to differentiate between messages. So we've added some icons where they didn't exist, and we've made the text a little clearer for people. And you'll also notice if you have instructions, such as this instruction down here. Again, it has a bit of a new style to it. And lastly, you will notice if you've set up smart check criteria when you're saving or submitting. So I'm going to submit this application just to see it. You'll notice the error messages have changed. And if you don't know, any of these links on the error messages, you can click on that link and it'll take you right to the field and focus on the field where the problem lies. So it makes it easier for the clients to do that, especially if you have multiple tabs like I do here. It's a great way to do that. And also, in case you didn't notice, if for some reason this message is covering up something, you can always temporarily close that error message and then still keep working. So that's the first visual change that you're going to see. Now, with e-signature documents, so for those of you who don't know, we use a field called the web page view field to generate PDFs. So this is one here. And in that field, I'm just going to open it up as an administrator here in configuration mode. In that field, there's a whole bunch of settings here which help us enable the PDF the way we want it. So for example, I can pick what size paper I want for the PDF. And down here, when you generate the PDF, it's going to take this file name. So what we did is we extended that file name to the e-signature documents as well. So not only for PDFs, but PDFs with e-signature also will take that file name, which also accepts variables. So if you want to do the application's name plus some other information, you can do that. Now, if you have a system like ours that has a lot of different universal tracking applications in it, and you've set up consumers and providers, so something's feeding from one application into another application, sometimes it can be hard to understand where all those connections lie. So we've made a visualization for that. So what I've done here is I've gone to the menu icon and tracking applications, and you'll see there's a new button here. And what this does is it shows me all the different applications in my system and how they're connected if they're connected. And I can focus on one. So for example, this is the Employee Giving Manager. I can see which ones are feeding information into this one via consumer provider. And if I want to, I can edit them as well. So it's just nice visualization for system admins to see what's connecting with what via consumers providers. So those of you in the granting space that use the quick assignment feature, and what the quick assignment feature is let's say I've got 5 applications here, and I want to assign them reviewers. So I can use this thing called Quick Assign, which is this button here, and I pick the ones that I want. So I want this one. Let's grab these. Oops, sorry. I'll grab these 2 here, and I can add them that way, or I can drag and drop them. So there's that one, and I can do it that way. So we've got 4 there, and then I want to pick reviewers. So I'm going to pick these 2 people as my reviewers, and I say continue. Now previously what it would do is it would assign these 2 people to all those applications. And that was what this setting is here, multiple user. But instead, if I want, I can do what's called single user assignment, and that's going to assign one person to each of them. So basically it takes the list of applications I've chosen, and it takes the list of users I've chosen, and it'll assign 1 to 1. So I got 2 are assigned to Edmund and 2 are assigned to Denise. And then if I hit assign, then they'd be assigned. And of course, you can pick what kind of role you want to assign them. So if I wanted to assign them as a reviewer, you do that there, and then it assigns those for you. So that's a nice little upgrade to this, enhance this feature for quick assignment. The other big change is the way that the autocomplete works. So the autocomplete field, and I'll just go to one right now. So here I've got 2 autocomplete fields. So this age range is a autocomplete, and before the upgrade, you would just start typing in, and it would give you a list of things that you could pick from the predefined list of options. So this time if I click it, I can see all the options now, and I can pick the one I want, or I can start typing it. So I can start typing, and it'll restrict my list to the ones that are closer to it. If you've enabled multiple selects for this field, again, I can pick what I want, and I can also type. So if I start typing, there's my yellow, and I get to select those fields. And you'll also notice it's inside the input. So those are the major changes that you're going to see, and enhancements that you don't have to turn on, that they automatically will happen. Some of the minor things that are going to happen is we've added, in case you wanted to help troubleshoot someone or see what was going on when they were in, maybe they reported an issue or you wanted to investigate, So if I go to people's profile as an administrator now, we've added a new option under the options called Login History. So in this Login History, I can see any user that I want in the system, when they logged in, how long they were on, where they were located, and what browser they were using. So if someone called me up and said, oh, I'm having a problem with this area of the system, we'd say, oh, okay, I know you're using Chrome, and I know what happened on such and such a date. So it just gives you a little more detail as to what's going on for administrators. The notifications area was a minor change here as well. So notifications is an area that where you can send a notification broadcast, and then all your users will see it. It'll show up under here. So maybe there's going to be an upgrade tonight, or there's some other type of thing that you want to communicate. You can do that here. We've also added 2 more things under here. The instant messages now appear under here, and the workflow request. So if you have a workflow task, it'll show up underneath there as well. So it's just consolidating those things into a similar area, so you don't have to go to different areas in the system to find them. All right. The other thing you're going to notice is here. On level 1, which is an application, you've always had a number account for the notes, so you knew how many notes were associated with this application. Now we've also surfaced that same count for contacts and organizations, and level 2s, which are activities. So here, for me, it's like a site visit or review. So now you can see those as well if it happened to jump there. So I know that there is a review, or I know there is a contact assigned, or 3 contacts assigned to this. So that's there on the left navigation. And if you have questions, just put them in the chat, and we will get to it, the question and answer section. Now, one thing I've heard from people is when they're using the white paper theme or the website theme, we made a minor modification in the interaction when you click image shortcuts. So I'm going to show you that right now so you can see it. And this is just to make it a little more intuitive. So if I can preview this. So I'm previewing a portal here, and this is a portal in the website theme. And in this portal, I've got an image shortcut here, which is going to bring me to a list view. So previously, when I click this section would expand, and I'd get a little minus button on the top right, and then I could bring it back down. But it was causing some confusion around users. So what we did instead is now when we click this, it opens up as a new page, and then you can use the back button instead of having that kind of funnier experience. This is a more standard, consistent experience. So you'll see that automatically happening. All right. The next thing, and I heard this a lot when I was in Dublin recently, at the EMEA summit there. So when people are creating their list views, so I've got a list view here, and let me go and edit my list view. So here's my list view, and here's my columns. All right, and I'm going to look at column 4 here. So column 4 is the amount requested, and I can scroll down here and I can find, there's my amount requested, so I know that one was highlighted. So I know that that's the field it's on, but sometimes you may not know exactly where you're pulling that field from. Was it from the organization? Was it from the program manager here? Was it from the grant? So what we've done to make it a little easier for you is we've put this little blue instructions message here on the right, and it tells me what the custom field ID is. So right there I can see the custom field ID. It tells me what the custom field type is, and then if I wanted to, for example, I can go to global settings, I can go to custom fields, and I can just search for that ID, and there's the field. So I know exactly what field it is. It's just making it a little easier for administrators to find their fields and get to them. It should make your administration a little bit easier. So the smart cards, and those of you, I don't know if everyone's used smart cards, but what smart cards are, it's kind of like a favorite list. So I can easily create a list view of things that I have to do, but what happens if there's these things I have to do have nothing in common? For example, I'm just going to meet people this week, and I've got 5 people that I've scheduled to meet this week, and there's nothing else in common. Well, maybe I want to favorite them, or what I like to do is, maybe I've got 5 applications or 5 tickets I need to deal with, and I want to call a meeting. I'll put them into a smart card, and then I can go meet with people. So these are the smart cards here, and what we've done is we've done 2 enhancements to this. First of all, when I can dock it, I can share this, and when I share it, I have a new option here, where I can share it with people, but when they get an email. But I can also, if they have updated this card, so if I've taken something out of this card or added something to this card, I can also email them or notify them in that scenario. So now you can do that. And if you haven't seen it before, I always highly recommend you can dock your smart cards so you can work with the objects during your meeting. Now that we're sharing these things in 2 different ways, we share it when you add someone to the card, and you can share it when you've updated the card. So we've also, your users may, if they get too many emails, they may want to change their preferences. So up here you have smart card notifications. So if I click on that, I can choose. So when someone shares a card with me, do I want an email, or do I want just a notification under this bell? And I can also say, I don't want to know when people are sharing things with me. I'll go here, I'll find it on my own. Same thing when the card's updated. So that way you can control how much notification you're receiving with the smart cards. All right. Oh, here's another one for our administrators. So if I'm going to go to this UTA, which is a Universal Tracking Application, where I'm managing all my applications. And I'm going to go to the level 1, which in this case is a grant. And on the grant, we have these save formulas. So these formulas are things that run whenever I save it. Maybe it's going to update a value on my level 2. Maybe it's going to append something to something. Whatever formulas I put in here that run when I save that level 1. Well, we've now added a history to this. So I can see what the old value was, who changed it, and when they changed it. So this is really helpful for administrators in case someone's making changes to your formulas here that run on save. And that's on the level 1, 2s, and 3s. So you can get a nice audit history there. The UTA status trigger supports multiple statuses. Oh, and also with if you're using the import wizard, you can now disable or choose to disable or enable running the formulas and workflows. So maybe if you're importing something and you don't want these workflows to run or the formulas to run, you can now have that option. And for group email, so I always like group email. So let's say I've got 3 applications. Let's say I've got, let me say I've got a bunch of applications here, and I'm going to group email these. So I click the group email, and I can pick what kind of person. So maybe I want the employees or the reviewers, etc. When let's grab the reviewers maybe. All right. All right, there you go. So when I select these people, and I can send them an email. So maybe there's something going on with this program, and I have to update these with somebody. Well, now you've also got a BCC option. So previously I didn't have that option. So maybe I have an internal account or something I want to let them know, or someone wants to monitor all the emails that I'm sending out, I can use this BCC when I group email people. Right, so that was the ones that are going to happen automatically. Now let's talk about the things that you can turn on after this upgrade or enable. So if you use the linked record list, and let me show you what one of those looks like. So for example, here I've got a linked record list of contacts, and below that I've got one, there's both of contacts here. But the idea is what I can do is I can take contacts or organizations, or I can take level 2s, for example, and I can put them in line on my level 1 using the linked record list. And that's now going to support consumer provider as well. You can use the group email with organization list views. So I was just showing you that a second ago with the program, but if I come into, let's say, people here, you can see that I can do the same thing. I can do a group email. I can pick users of the system. I can group email. Maybe I pick all the reviewers and say, hey, remember your deadlines, as the case may be. So group email is now for organizations as well and users. The Excel parser, which is a cool thing that we released a little while ago, where basically you created an Excel sheet the way you want, and you upload it to the system. Your user comes in, and they fill in the areas of their budget, and then it automatically populates and maps that to the different areas of your system. Well, the one thing we've added this upgrade is the ability to create level 2s. So much like you would in the advanced data table field, I can make each row of these into its own activity of the Excel document. And on the right here shows the syntax for doing that. If you're using sign-up pages with the IRS check, you'll notice there's a new option for the charity navigator to use for the IRS. It works the same way as the old one, but it's a secondary option, the service, and we're trying it out now, and we'll see if it may replace the other one eventually. But for now, if you want to try it, it works the same way. It does the same things. It's just a service that provides a little bit more information for us. Yeah, we got some more, if you're using the question set builder, which enables someone like a program manager to create questions and put them onto the application. We've added the upload multiple files and the date fields, so you can now add those in. And this is the first step in a multi-step process, but for those of you who ever did applicant tracking, we have a new version of attribute matching. And what this is, let's say I'm in the scholarship space and I want to give scholarships to, let's say, women in Ohio with a GPA of over 3.5 in math and over 4 in science. So what I can do is through this new interface, and this is the first phase of it, then we'll talk about more in the next one, I can go through and I can set my criteria that I want, and then it'll give me a ranked list of all the people who meet that criteria with a score. And one of the changes we did in this one towards it is we've allowed inline editing for adding things like your math, your science, and you can also include your personal information in here so you don't have to enter it twice. We made some enhancements to the amortization calculator. Oh, and you can do batch updates now on your consumer provider lists, which is really powerful for all those administrators out there. The autoloader can now also activate and deactivate your users. We've added that ability in, and a new calculation for Smart Check. And there's a new custom field for medical subject heading codes. So if you're in that area, I encourage you to add that custom field and try it out. And when you guys are adding anything or using any of these features, I would always recommend first thing you want to do is try it out on your backup system first. Make sure you're happy with it, test it before you deploy it on your live. So here's some minor things that you can turn on. The parent dependency is there. Oh, the state and provinces. So originally, when you entered your user profile, there was a setting to turn on using a predefined list for state and province. So I'll go to my profile. So if I'm on my profile here, edit this. All right, so you can see here, once I pick my country, I have a predefined list. So you used to have to turn that on. When you created the instance, we would turn that on for everybody. Well, by now it's going on by default. And there is an option to turn it off if you still want to do entering manually, but entering manually has a lot of issues with that. So instead, we always like to keep that on. The other thing that we've changed slightly is they're always going to save with an abbreviated code now. Sometimes it was saved with an abbreviated code and sometimes not. So for consistency, it'll always be an abbreviated code that it saves, stores the value to. On our login pages, let me just jump up there for a second to show you the login pages. If you haven't seen this before, this is how we configure the login pages. All the information is here, and then it'll update on the page itself. And if you hadn't noticed it, we've added the redirect URL. Now what this is used for, typically when you log out, you want to go back to the login page, but some clients like to go to their public website instead, or maybe maybe it's an internal website or some other place. So if you put another URL here, when you log out, it'll go to that URL instead of the login page. So that's an option for you if you need it. You can now set up an email alert if the autoloader processing failed. And we've introduced a new integration with our partners at Dembed Analytics. And what this is, it's a similarity identification integration. So what that does is you can look at, if you subscribe to this service through Dembed, and you have to get in touch with Dembed for a code. But what it'll do is, on each application you go to, you can see if there were other applications that were similar to it. So let's say I have two applications that are the same, it'll flag it and say, hey, this other application is the same, or even these three people are talking about the same things in their application. So I don't accidentally maybe fund an application I'd already declined before, or maybe if I have three applications, instead of funding all three, maybe I tell them to combine or get these people together so they can look at different areas. So there's all sorts of different uses for finding similarities, and it'll tell you how similar it is, what the similarities are, and there's a whole bunch of information on there. I encourage you to look it up, and you can learn more about it. There's an entire page that explains this in more depth. And I'm sure we'll be doing demos in the future of that. So let's talk about some beta previews then. So we've got a new interface for adding associations in a record. So for example, let's say I want to add a contact. So if I go into this record here, and I go to contacts, I don't have any contacts. This is the way it was. Let me just turn it on first. Settings, sorry. Let me see. What is it? Give me 1 second. Yeah, so here's the old way of doing it. So what we do is we pick the role, and we would add the person and type the name in here. So we have a new methodology of doing this now. Go back to that setting again. So you can try it out now. I can say, if I turn off this Use Classic Association Entry View, it's going to give me the new view. Now when I go back to Submission Manager, this guy, contacts. So now you'll see I've got a plus button here, and I pick what role I want to make this person a reviewer, and I grab John Paul, and I can click him and drag him down, or if I wanted to, I could also click and add up here, and then he's going to be assigned in the reviewer role, and I submit, and boom, there he is. So it's just a bit of an easier way of doing it, and we're going to give you a sneak peek before we roll that out to everybody. All right. Oh, and here's something fun. It's a new beta feature. So we've introduced a tab bar mode. So if you've ever liked to work in multiple tabs, as I always do, and sometimes I want to work on 2 or 3 things at the same time. Well, instead of opening up other multiple windows and multiple tabs, I can do it right in SmartSimple if I enable this tab bar. So when I enable tab bar, it's going to create these tabs on the bottom of my screen. And I can create new ones. So let's say I want to show a tab that's my profile. I'm going to make another tab that maybe, let's say, I'll go into this submission, and then maybe I'll make one more tab, and maybe that's a setting page that controls something on the field. Sure, let's go here. All right, so now I can jump between all these things I've just opened now when I'm in the tab bar mode. So I can see this level 1, or my profile, another level 1, maybe here's a custom field, so I can kind of work back and forth in these. And if I really want, I can compare them in this multitask mode. So here I go up 2 screens, and I can jump between and compare all the different things I'm working on all at once. So I can be in there making changes to each of these independently. So this is a really neat new feature, so we encourage you to try it out. Let us know what you think, and we hope this is going to bring a lot of productivity because you can see things in new ways. All right. So while I'm here, I'm going to just disable this. Disable the tab bar. All right. Okay. So anyone who hasn't used this before, one of your best friends is configuration mode. So I'm going to go into configuration mode here, and I can click on any field, and I can jump right to modifying that field. Well, one of the things we did, as you can see here, we have these shortcuts in configuration mode. It was getting a little lengthy, so we've broken it out into different sections. We've just organized it better. So now you can see what each thing does. The other thing we did is the old syntax checker has been made into two different tools now. It's the variable syntax helper and the formula syntax helper. So those who aren't familiar with it, the variable syntax checker is where you can check all your variables, and the formula, you can actually pull your formulas from different areas of the system, work on it here, and try it out. So the variable syntax checker is really nice. So I can say, okay, on this page, if I say @name, then I can evaluate that, and it'll return, this is the name of the record that I'm on. So it's a really nice tool to check your syntax, and we just organized that a little better, and we added a way to pull the formulas from your level 1s and level 2s to show them there. You can modify them and test them out. Yep, workflows can do the update consumer provider associations now. We got new JavaScript for the currency rate and API spec reader support. So I know I talked a whole lot now, so I think it'd be a great time to do question and answer and see what you guys are interested in hearing about.
All right, thank you for that presentation, Mark. So we do have some questions lined up for you. Going back to that, to the connectivity diagrams in the global upgrades, is there a way to print out those diagrams?
Not currently, other than doing a print screen, but that's a great enhancement idea. So I'm going to write that down right now, and I'll go talk to the team about it after.
Okay, thank you for that. Next question that we have, can you save a permanent BCC email address?
Save it so it's always there and then put it in? Not currently, but that is also a nice enhancement idea. So you want like a predefined one always set up to be used probably, right? I would assume, yeah, okay.
Okay.
I'll take that back and we'll chat with the team about that as well.
All right, thank you. So next question that we have. Hi, Mark. How do I enable the tab bar beta feature? I guess we can just go back to this one.
Yeah, sure. All right. So let's just go down here. So here's the tab bar feature. All right, and oh, does it not say? Oh, okay. I will fix that right after then. I can see why that is a problem. Okay, so I believe it's probably under security, system feature permissions. I would think it is. Let me just see here. Sorry, will I find it? Right. It will be under, there it is, enable tab bar access. Okay, so I will add that to the wiki after this, but for those who are watching, it's a feature permission. So wiki. Tab bar. Okay, so it's under system feature permissions, and you have to scroll all the way down, and then you'll see it's called tab bar. All right, what else we got?
Okay, are there any tabs that can't be opened at the same time? Just for if we have the enable tab bars, are there specific ones that can be?
I'm not aware of any, but if you do find some, just give support a call and let us know, and I'm sure we can work to either fix it or address it.
Okay, next question we have, can workflows be disabled on autoloaders as well as in the import wizard?
That I'm not sure of, but if you write that down, we'll get in touch with them. Sorry, do you have, can you send me that?
Yep.
I don't know. Yeah, let me get back to you on that. I'll have to check with somebody.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that, Mark. Next question that we have. Can you please go back to the quick assign function?
Sure.
I'm not seeing it in my level 1 list.
Oh, perfect. So let me show you how this, so for quick assign, let me do it again. Sorry, I went a little quick. I have a tendency of doing that. So I'm going to my UTA here. For me, it's a submission manager. And I'm going to the configuration settings. And then I go to the level I want. So for my case, I want a grant I showed you. And on the grant, there's a thing called quick assignment types. So first, before you can use quick assign, you have to set one up. So here I set one up. And I can say, okay, what roles do I want to be able to assign someone? I gave it a name. I tell it where it is. And once that's set up, then you'll get the quick assign button on that level.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Next question that we have, does the ability to do the tab view at the bottom of the screen have to be turned on in our instance for us to use it?
Yes. Yeah, so for tab bar to show up, you won't see enable tab bar until we go to global settings, security, system feature permissions, feature permission, and then we scroll down to tab bar, which was in there, enable tab bar access. So you got to enable it and choose what roles can get the tab bar first, and then you have to go under your user profile and turn it on for you whenever you want to turn it on or turn it off. Keep in mind this is a beta feature, it's our first release with it, so we will be enhancing it further. You know, it's in beta mode, but do try it. It should provide a lot of productivity.
Okay, thank you for that. Next question, how do we enable level 2 activity type names to show up on the left menu?
Oh, perfect. Good question. All right. So what we're referring to here is these are my level 2s, site visit, report, payment, review, survey. So I have all these level 2s here, and the question was, how do I get them to show up instead of it saying activities? All right, so let's go into Submission Manager, Configuration. I go into my level 1, standard fields, and first of all, you have to have activity list. This activity list, on the activity list standard field, and it might be called something else, I'm not sure in your system, but the activity list standard fields have an option here, display list type tabs on the left navigation bar. All right, it shows a screenshot. So this will change it from this to this. So if you toggle that on, that's what will happen. So again, if you go to it's a standard field, in this case, standard field on a level 1 called activity list. The name should be activity list, and if you toggle that on, you should see it on the left. If you don't see it for some reason, just give support a call, and I'm sure they'll help you the rest of the way.
Okay, thank you for that. Next question we have, do you have to turn on the new quick assignment feature? Yeah,
you have to set it up to get it. It's actually not a new feature. It's been around for a while. It's just, I don't think it's got any sunlight, so to speak, or hasn't got any love for a little while. So, but again, if you go to your configuration settings, there's a quick assignment right here in your list view, and if you create them here, then you will see them.
Okay, thank you for that. Next question that we have, can you add quick assign to list views for custom role-based portals?
I'm not aware of that. I'd have to check. I don't think so, but I'd have to check on that one.
All right.
So I'll have to get back to you because I'm not sure off the top of my head. I think the answer is probably no right now, but like I said, I'll check.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. An observation here. So I just enabled the tab feature. You have to log out and log back in before it will show up on that user profile area.
Yeah, perfect. That's a good point. Thank you for bringing that up. A lot of times the security features, the system features, when you turn them on, it's always best if you don't see it right away, log out, log back in, and then it should appear. Sometimes it's only on the login that they get applied, your permissions.
Okay. Next question that we have, for the enable tab bar feature, would this work to have a tab open as admin and then another tab as viewing as another user instead of having to constantly end the session?
I don't think it works like that, but you're welcome to try and let us know. It's basically meant for one session at a time. Not to say we might not be able to enhance it, but I don't think it works like that currently.
Okay, thank you. Another question that we have here, how do you define the roles that can be assigned in Quick Assign? The pull-down menu is blank.
So that is, back here to Quick Assign. So it should be the available roles right here. So if you add them there and you save it, that's what should be available on your drop-down. So possibly there was nothing filled in here, or possibly it didn't get saved, or maybe you need to refresh the page. It's probably one of those things. But like I said, if you just call support, they can easily help you set up this feature. Everyone there should know exactly how to do that.
All right, thank you. Another question that we have here, on the smart card, I enabled the notification on a smart card I share with someone else to notify them when something is added, but I didn't see the option to choose between email or a notification.
Oh, yeah, so when you share it, let's go back and share it. So here I'm sharing, you can send, it just says you send a notification. So you're sending the notification, it's up to the user. By default, they should receive emails, but they have the option of choosing it to be a notification instead. So you're just sharing it, and then based on the user's preference, the user you're sharing it with is set up. So if they've not done anything, they'll get emails. If they don't want emails, they can change it to notification, and if they don't want notifications, they can block it.
Okay. Okay. All right.
These are great questions, guys. Thank you very much.
No, and again, I'd like to emphasize with the tab bar feature. I personally love it, but again, we are in beta mode right now, so please test it as much as you can. And Mark would love as much feedback as he could get with it as possible. Always,
we always like to hear from everyone out there. We like to know, where the things are that you love and where the things are that are causing you, you'd love to see improved. Like I was saying, that list that came from multiple clients all saying, oh, I'm having trouble finding which custom field I put in this column. And so there it is. So we really love that feedback, and we do take it to heart, and you'll see features because of it. Okay. Well, I guess this is it for questions. So for everyone that is wondering if this webinar will be recorded, yes, it is. And we always upload our upgrade webinars, actually all our webinars, to our YouTube channel. So stay tuned early next week, or actually it could be even later this week. This will be available for everyone's review. All right, so again, if you need help with any of the upgrade features, please feel free to send an email to support@smartsimple.com, and we'll be happy to help you out as soon as we can. Thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of your day. Bye for now. Bye.